Welcome to the Figure Out Your Life podcast, the podcast where we try to find the answers to life's everyday questions. I'm your host, Toya T, a.k.a. Toya T, PhD, a.k.a. Dr. T, a.k.a. your sister from another mister, a.k.a. the mistress of storytelling, a.k.a. the queen with the nappy hair raising a fist. Shout out to Jill Scott. Oh, man, let me stop playing around with y'all. Hey, guys, I'm back. I'm black. And I took a break because I needed it. The last couple of weeks have been crazy, training for my new teaching job and then the census worker training that I had to do. I actually started doing the census work, which if you really want to know how that's going, it is for the birds. And I have a completely different perspective on it than I did the last time I did it. I did it 10 years ago when I was living in Atlanta while I was doing the research, doing interviews for my PhD dissertation. So I had lots of flexible time in between meeting with people and interviewing them and doing participant observations and writing and reading and all that stuff. I had plenty of time and I also needed the money. So I was gung-ho about doing it. And with Atlanta, even if they put you in your area, you're still driving around everywhere because people don't walk in Atlanta. You don't walk around. First of all, it's hot. Second of all, there's no sidewalks. Third of all, everything is so spaced out. So I was like driving around all over the place within Fulton County. That's where I lived, in Fulton County. I lived in Buckhead, if you didn't know. But so I was driving around in that area, and I don't think it was as bad as it is now. Maybe because different president, 1, 2, this is supposed to have been done already, but because of the pandemic, it got pushed back and now they're rushing everyone to get these things done. So I got trained in August and then I'm getting all these messages about go out, do 10 hours a day. And I'm like, I have a full-time job and all these messages that the census keeps sending out about, we'll give you a bonus if you complete more than 40 hours a week, and please sign up for the maximum amount of hours on the weekends and we'll give you a bonus on top of what you get paid, which is for my area, it's like $27 an hour. And I went out on my first day and I was not feeling it. When I signed up for it, I wasn't working. I was supposed to start in March and I think it was supposed to end sometime around May. And it would have been perfect because I knew I wasn't going to start my new job until July, August. So I was like, okay, cool. I can make some money during that time and I can do maximum hours, stack some money, probably pay off some student loans, blah, blah, blah. Because there I am, again, being an adult, thinking about like working to pay off bills, not to buy myself something nice. And the pandemic changed all that. And now I'm like Rochelle from Everybody Hates Chris when she would start a job and then she would quit it because her husband Julius had 2 jobs. And so she'd be like, I don't need to take this. My man got 2 jobs. So when I'm doing the census stuff, I'm like, I don't need this. I got a full-time job with benefits. Okay. I finally got a job that I've been working to get for the last 6 years. I ain't got the energy or the time to be doing all this for y'all. Okay. You're going to get the little bit of time that I have for you because walking out here in the heat, even if I drive, it's still coming in and out of the car. It's so taxing. And I feel a lot of the places that I'm going to probably turned in their questionnaires online or by mail. And we all know what's going on with the USPS. I feel some of it just didn't get to the census and they're sending us out to go harass people that have already done stuff. And if you know me, I don't like to repeat myself or have to do something that I already did. And I knew for a hot second that we were on that list too, because a census worker came up to our door and was like, wait a second, something weird happened. Your name disappeared from the list. Oh, I wonder if it processed, because I personally did the census questionnaire for my household because my mother has no patience for any of that stuff. I was asking her all the questions and filled it out for us. I know I sent that in. I don't know how we ended up on that list, but I also know that they're backed up. In general, all these government agencies are backed up, particularly the census and USPS. And I just feel very weird about going out and knocking on people's doors that may have already turned in their questionnaires and are like, why are you bothering me? I'm just trying to stay COVID free and enjoy my summer. And you come in here harassing me. This census job, we'll see how long that lasts. Maybe because I haven't gotten my first paycheck yet from them. Maybe once I get my paycheck, I might feel a little bit more motivated. But for right now, it really is, I don't need this. I got myself a full-time job, okay? I like money, but I don't like money that much. So I had to take that break because I just did not have the mental capacity I didn't have the ability, I didn't have the bandwidth, as people would say, to outline my podcast, to record, to edit, to publish, to promote. So what I've been doing is just promoting the top 5 most downloaded episodes. If you follow the podcast Instagram, you would have seen me posting these rewind episodes. And that's been working because some people are new listeners, and it's giving them an idea of some of my best episodes to get them into the Figure Out Your Life tribe. So that's what's been going on with me. Everyone is still healthy. But before we start, I want to shout out 3 more of my 5-star reviews because I want to encourage you guys to rate and review the podcast. And I believe in positive reinforcement because that's how I got through school. Like, I was getting A's and B's because my parents were paying me. Okay. And I was a smart girl. When your parents are paying you your age for every A you get and half your age for every B you get and nothing else for the lower grades, you get really motivated. And that's how I've been motivated like that the whole time, all up until I graduated from graduate school. I was still on that. What you gonna give me for graduating? So that's what I'm gonna do with you guys. The first one is from a fan of real art. And the title of their review is Such a Great Voice. Thank you. A fan of real art says, Miss Toya T draws into her personal journey with a great voice. I love her passion and she's always funny, but she also makes you think. A clear voice with great insights of today's problems, and oftentimes she offers some solutions. Miss T is a great podcaster. I absolutely love her sense of humor. She's very intelligent, but more importantly, she's truly easy to listen to. Please check her out, and like me, you will be hooked on her greatness. Thank you very much. A fan of real art. Y'all, you just warm my little heart. Okay, next one is this one's from Bring the Mio podcast. Hey, girls. So this one says, this podcast is amazing. It's relatable, real, and brings so many topics to light that should be discussed. The host is knowledgeable, open, honest, and pleasant to listen to. Take a listen. You won't regret it. Thank you, Bring the Mio podcast. I suggest you go check them out, too. They have such a great energy. It made me miss my friends. Like being around my friends because they have such a great energy. The ladies on that podcast. Last one. So worth the listen. This is from Scholar Hours Podcast, another fellow podcaster. Love to see this new perspective on these subjects. Definitely will tune in more. Thank you, Scholar Hours Podcast. Check out the Scholar Hours Podcast too. This is my podcast community, and I absolutely love the opportunity to talk to other podcasters and support each other, listen to each other's podcasts and give each other reviews, because we all know that the reviews are how we get found. The more you have, the more you get noticed by the algorithms of these different platforms. So it's really important that we support each other. I want to say thank you to those 2 podcasts, the Scholar Hours podcast and the Bring the Mio podcast. And of course, to the listener, a fan of real art. I appreciate ya. Now let's get to today's episode. So, how are y'all really doing? Have you been feeling sluggish or exhausted or emotionally drained in a way that you hadn't been before when life was normal? At the end of the day, are your eyes sore or dry? If you said yes, you're experiencing Zoom fatigue. This is a type of mental and physical exertion can stem from constant and long-term use of such software. Like, I recently just got off a Zoom meeting. I had an hour and 15-minute professional development about racial healing, and I'd already had like several other Zoom meetings. So this one was after lunch. It was like 1:45 until 3:00. And when I looked at myself, when I signed into that Zoom meeting, I was like, oh, I got to take this one on my bed. I got to lay down because the pollen outside is kicking my behind. I just feel like the pollen is trying to take my life. I'm like, this is not COVID. This is pollen. This is Mother Earth saying, hey, girl, remember that you have allergies to pollen and ragweed? I'm going to turn it all the way up for you. I had to actually check the pollen count because I was so stuffed up this morning when I woke up. I could barely breathe through one of my nostrils. So I checked it. I looked at the map, and we're the highest pollen count right now in the area where I live. And I was just exhausted from blowing my nose and trying to breathe and being congested. So I had to lay down. But I was also just tired from watching people on these screens and spending so much time attached to my computer screens, one of my two computer screens. Zoom fatigue is real and has become a growing concern among mental health professionals who say that constant video chat meetings are draining users more than in-person conversations. So what is causing this? Psychologists say several factors lead to Zoom fatigue. Some users can feel like they're performing for the camera more than they would while meeting colleagues in person, especially when these software continuously display to a user their own live image, adding an element of self-awareness. Think about it. When you are doing these meetings and you have your video on, it is more taxing on you because now you're also becoming very self-aware about how you appear. Especially if you're the person talking, you're watching yourself and it's mentally taxing to have to pay attention to, oh my gosh, that's what I look like when I say that. Oh, I talk with my hands a lot. Oh my gosh, did I just make a face when that person said something? All these things you become hyper aware about that you wouldn't when you're in person having these meetings. It's like a constant reminder to fix your face, which as an expressive person whose thoughts and feelings can be read all over my face, it is something that I'm constantly trying to do, which is fix my face. It's something that my mom would tell me, fix your face. My friends will tell me that too. If something I don't like or somebody I don't like shows up, and they'd be like, Toya, fix your face. I'm like, okay, let me put a fake smile on, even though I really don't like to put fake smiles on around people. If I don't like you, I'm gonna keep my face the way it is, which is probably why some people think that I really don't like them, because I don't fix my face when they come around. If I'm apathetic towards you, my face is gonna stay the same unless I'm in conversation with somebody that I actually know and like. So this is especially the case on large Zooms where you don't know who is watching you. Like, you have to scroll several screens to see everybody. So you don't know who is watching you. If someone has decided to particularly watch you, to pin your video and look at you, it's like you're constantly being watched. And it can feel like you're in a Panopticon. Bear with me for a second here. I'm about to go into Dr. T mode. I'm going to put my Dr. T hat on. Professor T is in the building for a second. I'm going to pull from my days from teaching criminology. Jeremy Bentham is a philosopher and reformist who lived in the 18th and 19th century in England, and he introduced the idea of the Panopticon. So what is the Panopticon? The Panopticon is an institutional building where people are kept under inspection, a hospital, a school, public housing for poor people, a factory, or a mental health institution. The most famous application of the Panopticon is that of a prison. Think of the old prison movies. So something like The Shawshank Redemption, those old prison yards where they have that one tall tower in the middle, and then the yard where the prisoners are able to congregate outside is surrounding. And another good example of that is Guardians of the Galaxy. They had a Panopticon too, except it wasn't a tower really. I think it was floating in the middle, but when they were in the prison in the first movie, the guards were able to keep watch on all of the prisoners because they were in the middle and it was circular and there was windows all around so they can see everything, but the prisoners couldn't see them. The essence of the Panopticon is that of central inspection. If people feel that they're being watched, then they will check their own behavior. Even if that is not the case, a large Zoom is very much like a Panopticon in that you don't know if the person is watching the speaker or is directly looking at you because their eyes are just looking towards the screen. That can cause a lot of stress because it involves a lot of self-awareness. One, you're looking at yourself in the little box, but then the people in the other boxes could be potentially staring at you and making judgment, and you are taking this in and deciding how to react. Either you decide that you're going to quote unquote fix your face, or you're just going to continue to do what you're going to do. But in most cases, people want to demonstrate that they're paying attention and try to look at the camera, which is not something that you would naturally do if you were having an in-person meeting with somebody. So how do you prevent Zoom fatigue? Here are some suggestions that I have for you. 1, turn off your camera. I'm not saying don't go to the Zoom meeting. I'm not saying don't turn on the Zoom meeting or whatever meeting you're going into, but turn off the camera. If it is not stated by the host of the Zoom or the video conference meeting, ask if it's okay to Only be in audio mode. There are many things that we would usually do during in-person meetings that we feel that we cannot do on Zoom because we are all sitting in different homes. If we turn to look out the window, it might seem like we're not paying attention, which people wouldn't really consider if you were in the room with them. For women, there's that extra pressure to look good on camera, like putting on makeup, since some lighting can make you look like the Crypt Keeper. If you don't know who the Crypt Keeper is, look it up. Tales from the Crypt. Look up the host of Tales from the Crypt. And I know sometimes that's how someone must be looking at. Maybe I'm talking about myself, but I don't think I've ever in my life had dark circles before until I started having to do these Zoom meetings. I'm like, oh my gosh. Even when I turn the light on, like I have a desk lamp right behind the camera, which is the best place for you to have your lighting if you're going to do lighting so that you look your best. Learn from Mariah Carey. Good lighting is key, and you should get yourself some. I have started to put on concealer under my eyes, and I've put on some eyebrow pencil because I feel like I'm getting washed out by the light. I always feel better when I have eyebrows on. I feel it makes my face look human. So I'll do that sometimes, and some lip gloss because I don't want somebody to think my lips are chapped. You know what I'm saying? Even if I'm not talking, I need to have some lip gloss because people are mostly seeing just my face. Plus, I haven't even met most of these people in person. I don't want my new coworkers to think that I have bags under my eyes for days and I look like some kind of raccoon. I don't know who's watching me. I don't know who's single. I gotta look good. You know what I'm saying? Or at least look like I woke up like this, like Beyonce said, looking good, not looking like a Crypt Keeper. Whew. It just feels like just a long selfie where you're just trying to find good lighting and you can't find it. It's the selfie that you're taking with your friends where you can't seem to get everybody in the picture because your arm is not long enough. So you always keep cutting off somebody's face. That's what it feels like. Again, the best thing to do is to just turn off the camera. Give yourself a break and turn off the camera. This also gives you a chance to get up and take a walk and stretch and use the bathroom as long as you have the audio off too. Sitting down all day and staring at a screen is not good for you. It's not good for your waistline. It's not good for your blood pressure. It's not good for your eyes. It's not good for you in general. It is unnatural and can contribute to Zoom fatigue. For those who don't have a private space for work, it is especially challenging to be on a call when others are in your home and are working around and doing something else. You have to find different ways to tell your loved ones, do not disturb me, or you have to find a way to tune people out that are trying to maneuver around you while you're on a Zoom meeting. So that's why turning off your camera is a good way to avoid that. If you're feeling self-conscious or overstimulated, turn off your camera and save your energy. Spending time away from the screen is key to staying energized amid video chats. Give yourself a chance to stand, to walk around, to stretch, to relax your face, get food, use the bathroom, like whatever you need, or just take a rest from having that feeling of being constantly watched. Turn off the screen. Turn off the screen so you can focus on the task at hand, which is actively listening and participating in the meeting. Number 2, use communication tools you are most comfortable with if you have a choice. Folks said this before when we were in normal times, that some meetings could have just been a freaking email. In this case, not everything has to be a video chat. Some of these things can be communicated over a regular phone call, text, or email. You don't have to video chat me for everything. I just saw you on the group meeting. I don't need to see you for our one-on-one, meetings on camera. Oh my gosh. Everything does not have to be a video chat. If you feel zoomed out, try saying something like, I'd love to take a break from video calls. Do you mind if we do this over the phone? Can we do this exchange over email? Most likely the other person will be relieved by the switch too, because they're also constantly on video chat. Number 3, try to avoid multitasking. Now, I am the queen of multitasking, and some of this is that I have a hard time sitting still. I used to shake my leg a lot to help me concentrate, especially if I'm reading or if I'm taking an exam or I'm nervous or I'm just trying to pay attention or not fall asleep. I start moving my leg and it's not on purpose. If I'm not moving my leg, I'm probably moving my hands. So if I'm talking, I'm moving my hands. One time, my health teacher asked me in front of all my classmates if I was on something. He was trying to insinuate that I was on drugs or something like crack. That would have me so hyper because he could see my legs moving. And I remember, I think we were doing some kind of like reading assignment. So I had no idea what he was referring to. I was like, excuse me? Because I was reading. I was focused. My friends had to chime in and tell him like, nah, Toya's always like that. She's always moving. And as an adult, I often try to use every opportunity to do more in less time. So I'm strolling through my phone. While I'm watching TV, I check my email and play Pokemon. During my morning walks, I listen to audiobooks while I drive long distances. And just this morning, I was scrolling through Instagram while hula hooping for exercise because I cannot seem to stay still. But research shows that trying to do multiple things at once cuts into performance, because you have to turn certain parts of your brain off and on for different types of work. Switching between tasks can cost you as much as 40% of your productive time. Researchers at Stanford found that people who multitask can't remember things as well as their more singularly focused peers. The next time you're on video chat, you might want to try closing any tabs or programs that might distract you. Try to focus on the video chat itself. Focus on the meeting. Number 4, take mini breaks. I already mentioned that about turning off the camera while you're on a Zoom call, so you have the opportunity to take biological need breaks. You can go use the bathroom. You can go shake your leg because it's falling asleep. You can get up to stretch. You can yawn and do all kinds of things that you need to just relax from just sitting in the same spot and staring at a screen. But you have to take a break and get up. For days when you can't avoid back-to-back calls, consider making meetings 20 or 50 minutes instead of the standard half hour, an hour, to give yourself enough time in between to get up and move around for a bit. You need to do that to just give yourself enough time to move your body. Use the bathroom, eat, talk to someone else, play with your pets or your children if they're around. I know a lot of people have pets. I want to get a quarantine dog, but my mother does not like animals with fur. I don't think she likes animals, period, especially the dog and cat kind. And that's not happening. And I'm already also allergic to pet dander and fur. And so I'd only be able to get a certain type of dog that doesn't have fur. It'd have to have like hair. The same dog like the Obamas had. Because which one was allergic? Was it Malia or Sasha? One of them was allergic. I really wanted to do that because I see everybody with dogs. I was like, oh, that'd be so nice to have someone to, be my friend in person and give me a hug. But that's not happening. But if you have pets or kids, this will be a good time to go pat them on the head, talk to them, see how they're doing, or give your dog or your cat a good belly rub. Take a break from the task at hand. Take a break from the screen. Number 5, listen to your body. That is my final tip for you. Listen to your body. It's okay if you feel tired or if you don't want to do anything at all. Now, during work hours, it doesn't work as much. But if you have some flexibility to be able to take a short nap or take a short walk because you feel restless, because you feel tired, because you feel claustrophobic, listen to your body. That's why I said turn off the camera. If you need to get up, take a walk, get some fresh air, or you take a nap, you have to listen to your body. Listen to it. If you don't, that's when your body gets real petty. Your body starts acting like it's a spurned ex-girlfriend or boyfriend and decides to start doing all kinds of things to get back at the mind. That's how people end up stroking out, getting ulcers, losing their hair, breaking out, gaining weight. These are all things that usually come out of stress and people not listening to their bodies. So you have to listen to your body, even if it's hard to get the time to do so because you have a taxing job or you have a lot of responsibilities at home. Listen to your body. If you need to take that break and the only place you can take that break is the bathroom, go to the bathroom. And you don't even have to use it. Just go in there because you don't want your body to turn on you. You don't want to get sick from Zoom fatigue related exertion. Don't let this get you sick, okay? It's just supposed to be keeping us safe, so let it keep us safe. And just because it's a different way of working doesn't mean that you should not still be doing the things that you may usually will have done at work. Get up and use the bathroom. Get up and get some water. Talk to a coworker for a few minutes. Do these things still so that you can keep yourself from Zoom fatigue. And with that, I'm going to move on to the next section, which is figure this out. Now, the one thing I want to figure out, can you figure this out for me? Why do Republicans like to lie? I'm not watching the Republican National Convention. I wasn't going to watch that, but I decided to start off my by watching clips of the recast. And I said, what? Duh. Every single clip that I saw was speeches about how 45 is the best president ever and he's done the most in terms of dealing with this virus, and he's been very responsive, and he's been the best thing that's happened to this country and our economy. And I am like, are you serious? Oh my gosh. Do you have a mind of your own? Does he have some kind of weapon behind you? Did he threaten to throw your family into a volcano? Does he have dirty pictures of you? So many people that you would think that have independent minds that would think this is the convention for our political party. This is where we talk about our agenda for the country and discuss how this candidate is going to address these problems. Instead, they sit there and blatantly lie. Like, I was watching several of the news pundits, particularly from MSNBC, that were pointing out that Republicans were saying things about 45 that he contradicted in his actions and in his words. For example, one of them was talking about that he was so supportive of the removal of Confederate flags and statues in their state. And the pundit was like, no, he has said out his mouth that is the erasure of American history, and he wants all those things to be left alone. Yet you're saying that he was supportive of when you did it. So which one is it? Y'all saying that he was very quick to responding to the virus, and he was not. He kept telling us it was going to go away. He said it was going to go away by April, then by June, then July, then August. Then he said September, we're going to be all good. No, we're not. What are you talking about? The man is still calling it the China virus. He's not taking this seriously. It doesn't matter. And people keep calling him on that. Can you stop doing it? Do you know it's racist? He's like, how is it racist? It came from China. Okay, if it originated in China, what does it have to do with the fact that we have over 176,000 Americans that are dead? They had the virus. It came over here through people traveling, and viruses doing what viruses do, which is spread. And you didn't respond to it immediately like you should have. You didn't take it seriously. And so even if you think that they created it and it came from there, what does that have to do with your response to this virus? Okay, you call it the China virus, but the China virus has caused American deaths because of your American behind, because of your inability to run the American government, to be able to think of the good of the American people. We've barely seen you wearing a mask, but you're telling us to wear a mask. It's constant contradictions. And I wonder how these Republicans continue to kiss his boo-boo behind. Come on. Like, we've all seen it. He is the worst type of friend. Like, he's not a friend. He's the worst type of person to try to be in a relationship with, because when it's good and when you're supporting him and he needs you, he's singing your praises. You're the best person ever. But if anything goes wrong, if something fails, he's pointing fingers at you. He's throwing you under the bus. He's calling you everything but a child of God. Look what happened to Jeff Sessions. He was one of the first people to actually support him when he ran for president. He made him the attorney general. And then he decides to recuse himself from the whole FBI Russia investigation. And as soon as he did that and things weren't going 45's way, he turned on Jeff Sessions and pretty much forced that guy to have to resign because he was calling him everything but a child of God. He was like, it's his fault if he didn't do that. I don't know what he's thinking there. Like, these folks have to know that kissing his behind now doesn't guarantee that you're going to stay on his good side. You can kiss and he will still poop on your face. Okay, you can sit there and kiss his butt all you want to, and at the end of it, he will still shit on your face. So I just don't understand how they are not thinking about the future. What happens when he doesn't win and you said all these great things about him? Are you going to turn around and talk dog booby about him after that? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You don't have your own self-respect, but you also get elected too. And so saying these things like it's truth, and then your state is suffering or your district is suffering because of his inaction, are you still going to be standing behind him? Okay. So if you can figure out why they continue to kiss his butt when they know that he's going to caca-poo-poo on their face, you let me know. And with that, I am done. If you like this episode, if you like this podcast, and you've not done so already, please go ahead and rate and review this podcast. Like I said before, you give me a 5-star review wherever you are listening to this podcast, and I will read it on air. You'll get your own special shout out. And please also subscribe. And share the podcast with 3 of your friends. Why 3? Because 3 is my favorite number. It's the magic number. If you know that old song, 3 is the magic number. And what I have left to say to you guys is that I hope that you have a great morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. I want you to stay blessed. I want you to stay safe. I want you to stay healthy. I want you to stay with your mask on. And I want you to turn off those cameras when you're on Zoom or any of these other platforms. I will talk to you guys next week. All right, bye.